Tonight, you will lock your front door, you will turn the heavy deadbolt. You will feel a comforting sense of absolute security inside your home, trusting that thick wood and metal will protect you, but this safety is a biological illusion. What if the lock on your door is entirely useless against the real threat? The monsters of your nightmares do not break down doors, they hijack the very machinery of life. You have watched countless movies about an undead apocalypse and confidently memorized the fictional rules of survival, but the real answer is far stranger. What if Hollywood has it completely backwards? A true outbreak would not follow a theatrical script. It would be governed strictly by biology. An apocalyptic scenario would be dictated entirely by the cold, unforgiving laws of physics and thermodynamics. You cannot shoot a mathematical equation. Are you actually prepared for the terrifying scientific reality? To understand the threat, you must look to history. You must trace the biological origin of the nightmare. In the 1980s, Harvard ethnobotanist Wade Davis traveled to Haiti to investigate real-world, documented accounts of the undead. He uncovered something genuinely terrifying. Could a chemical agent actually steal your free will? Davis discovered a complex poison used in secret rituals. It contained a powerful neurotoxin derived from pufferfish. This rare chemical drops the human heart rate to an almost undetectable flutter, mimicking clinical death perfectly. The helpless victim is then buried alive. How would you escape a wooden coffin under 6 feet of dirt? You wouldn't be able to move a single muscle. You would suffocate slowly in the pitch black. Days later, the victim is dug up and forcefully fed a highly toxic hallucinogenic plant called Datura stramonium. This botanical concoction erases your memory entirely. What happens to a human mind wiped completely clean? The victim becomes a compliant, biological slave. This is not science fiction or ancient mythology. It is a thoroughly documented anthropological phenomenon, proving that external chemical agents can entirely delete your free will. Your brain is merely a delicate chemical computer. What happens when a microscopic invader rewrites your operating system? Deep in the rainforests of Brazil, a real apocalypse is unfolding. An infected insect is walking completely against its will. It climbs exactly 25 centimeters up a plant stem and clamps its jaws onto a leaf vein with a permanent death grip. The insect is forcing its own demise. Why would nature create such a cruel mechanism? The culprit is a parasitic fungus called cordyceps. Biologist David Hughes extensively studied this bizarre, horrifying interaction. He discovered that the fungus does not invade the brain, but instead surrounds the muscle fibers to drive the host like a fleshy puppet. The victim is trapped inside its own body as a silent observer. Could something like this infect your advanced nervous system? You might already be carrying a mind-altering parasite. Toxoplasma gondii is a highly prevalent microscopic protozoan. Renowned researcher Joanne Webster coined the term fatal feline attraction to describe its terrifying, mind-bending effect on infected rodents. The parasite actively alters the host's brain chemistry. Why would a rat suddenly lose all fear of predators? The parasite desperately needs to reach a cat's stomach to reproduce. It literally rewires the rodent's brain to seek out feline urine. The infected host is chemically forced to commit suicide by intentionally delivering itself directly to an apex predator. Millions of human beings carry this exact same parasite. Is your brain subtly pushing you toward unseen dangers? Evolutionary biologist Jaroslav Fleger discovered alarming data regarding this infection. He studied human reaction times and risk-taking behaviors over several years. His extensive research suggests that infected humans suffer from delayed reflexes and have a statistically significant higher risk of dying in traffic accidents. Your daily choices might not be your own. Could a mutated version of this parasite trigger rampant human aggression? Your brain is normally protected by a microscopic fortress. It is called the blood-brain barrier. This highly selective biological filter prevents dangerous pathogens, toxins, and rogue cells in your bloodstream from ever reaching your delicate central nervous system. It is an evolutionary masterpiece of cellular defense. But what happens when a virus learns to pick the lock? The rabies virus is a master biological lockpicker. It completely bypasses your sophisticated immune defenses. The virus travels secretly along your peripheral nerves, climbing slowly from a physical bite wound directly up your spinal cord and into your brainstem. Your immune system never even sees the threat coming. Could a mutated pathogen trigger a rapid global collapse? Rabies destroys the very concept of human behavioral restraint. It causes extreme, acute inflammation of the deep brain tissue. The infected experience severe confusion, extreme paranoia, terrifying hallucinations, and an intense, uncontrollable aggressive urge to bite anything that moves. It has a near-perfect fatality rate in humans. Why doesn't this existing virus end modern civilization right now? The slow incubation period is a crucial saving grace. It often takes weeks or months to finally reach the brain. If a novel pathogen combined the terrifying neurological symptoms of rabies with the hyperinfectious airborne transmission of an influenza virus, the global response would shatter. The international healthcare system would collapse instantly. Who will staff the hospitals when the doctors are already infected? Imagine a massive wave of humans driven by mindless, violent biting. This is the classic cinematic model of the undead horde. But a walking, rotting corpse faces an insurmountable enemy in the form of basic physics and cellular biology. A dead body cannot generate molecular energy. How does a lifeless corpse move without functioning cellular machinery? It physically cannot move a single inch forward. Your muscles require a specific molecule called ATP to contract and relax. Without a beating heart to deliver oxygen and synthesize ATP, your muscle fibers lock permanently into place during a biological process called rigor mortis. A reanimated corpse would be completely immobile within hours. How would a rigid, frozen monster chase you down the street? Furthermore, human flesh is incredibly fragile by design. You rely entirely on a highly complex, active immune system. Millions of hungry bacteria live inside your digestive tract right now, waiting patiently for the moment your immune defenses finally shut down. They will immediately begin consuming you from the inside out. Would an undead horde even survive the changing seasons? They would rapidly liquefy under the harsh summer sun. They would freeze entirely solid in the winter snow. Without active blood flow to regulate internal temperature, a roaming monster in sub-zero weather quickly becomes a harmless, brittle ice sculpture. The surrounding environment is the ultimate undefeated predator. But what if the virus simply keeps the host fully alive? This would be a terrifying living rage virus scenario. The infected remain living humans stripped entirely of higher reasoning. This removes the problem of physical decay, but introduces a horrifying new variable concerning the raw speed of the pathogenic spread. How fast would it tear through your specific city? Can pure mathematics predict the end of the world? This exact catastrophic scenario was modeled by an academic mathematician. The researcher, who officially publishes under the name Robert Smith with a question mark, applied real epidemiological equations to a theoretical undead outbreak. He used standard models designed for actual infectious diseases. The mathematical results were absolutely terrifying to read. How long would a city of 500,000 people survive? If a single infected individual enters the population, humanity loses. The entire city falls in exactly 3 days. Because the transmission rate of a direct bite is incredibly high and there is zero natural immunity, the infection curve goes perfectly vertical. The viral outbreak burns incredibly fast and hot. But did the mathematician discover a crucial biological flaw? A virus desperately needs a living host to survive and replicate. If it turns hosts into hyper-aggressive predators, they rapidly run out of food. The infected human body requires massive amounts of daily calories to sustain constant violent movement, meaning the horde will quickly face systemic metabolic failure. An army of raging humans will simply starve to death. How do you survive a purely mathematical nightmare? Your first instinct will betray you completely. You will want to run straight to a crowded supermarket. You will feel an overwhelming urge to gather weapons, canned goods, and tactical supplies alongside thousands of other terrified citizens. This is the deadliest mistake you can possibly make. Why would you intentionally walk into a panicked death trap? You must do the exact opposite of the frightened crowd. You need to stay perfectly, silently, still inside your home. Fill every bathtub, sink, and plastic container in your house with tap water immediately, because municipal pressure will remain for the first few days. You can survive 3 long weeks without eating a single meal. How long will you last without drinking clean water? You will die in exactly 3 days. Your biological clock is strictly tied to basic cellular hydration. Once your water supply is completely secure, you simply barricade the heavy doors, cover the glass windows, and let the chaos unfold outside. You do not fight the mathematical infection curve. Why risk your life in combat when physics will do the work for you? The infected will quickly succumb to severe biological dehydration. Their failing bodies will experience catastrophic, irreversible organ failure. Without coordinated farming, global logistics, and basic self-preservation instincts, a horde of mindless humans will collapse from exhaustion within a matter of weeks. Your ultimate goal is just to outlast their rapidly ticking metabolic clock. Did your ancient ancestors survive by fighting every single prehistoric threat? They survived ice ages by heavily using their advanced prefrontal cortex. They outsmarted the present danger instead of foolishly engaging it in physical combat. You are the apex predator on this planet because of your incredible patience, your spatial awareness, and your supreme strategic intelligence. A viral apocalypse is not an explosive action movie. Is it simply a grueling test of quiet endurance? The greatest weapon you have is a heavy, locked door. The viral apocalypse will end with a biological whimper, not a cinematic bang. When the mathematical curve finally collapses and the infected starve out in the streets, you will emerge from the silence completely unharmed. Tonight, you will lock your front door. Because this time you will know exactly why it is the only survival tool you will ever need.